Some thought Kyle Busch moving over to Richard Childress Racing would be not only a reset of his career, but also a reset of his persona. Even the driver hinted that such a change might be coming. A quarter of the way through the 2023 Cup Series season, and Rowdy fans are relieved. He's still just as feisty as ever, and this weekend at Talladega, he showed it, taking shots at Corey LaJoie and NASCAR, calling out the sanctioning body for its double standards. And he's right. Before Kyle Busch announced that he was leaving Joe Gibbs Racing after 15 years and joining RCR, he met with reporters in September last year and readily admitted that he might have to change his persona to a certain degree to be more appealing to sponsors and potentially a new team. Fast forward to January, a few months after the two-time champion had joined his new team. During a Goodyear tire test at Circuit of the Americas, Busch met with the media and was asked about his personality and if Rowdy Nation could expect any changes in 2023.
It just depends, you know. It's a matter of who makes you mad, but no, it's just a product of circumstances and what all goes down, you know. So our sport needs some entertainment, it needs some excitement, whether it's on the track, a little bit off the track. So you know, if I'm that guy, I've been that guy for a little bit. This hat's not black for a reason, so you know, we'll keep rolling.
Busch said it's a matter of who makes you mad. Enter Corey LaJoie. Last weekend at Martinsville, the numbers 7 and 8 cars were running around each other late in the race, and things weren't going well for either team. With frustrations mounting, the pair made contact multiple times, each time the RCR car moving up the track and getting into the rear of the Spire Motorsports car. Eventually, LaJoie had enough and made a hard left turn into the number 8. LaJoie talked about the incident this past week on his Stacking Pennies podcast.
Door smash each other. You get in those positions where if you're needing a yellow and you're needing a pit, you're looking to wreck somebody. That's what you get because you can't afford to come down pit road and get stuck by a caution. So when Kyle Busch, I'm bleeding. I went from like 15th to 19th, 20th. My rear tires are blown off of it. Kyle's going backwards too, so he was frustrated. But he drove into my left rear 3 different times off the corner. Boom. Like looking to cut my tire down. Maybe he wasn't, but when you, after 3 times.
Like he turned underneath you?
Yeah.
And then he kind of couldn't keep driving, kind of bounced
Just
off you?
Kept driving the left rear tire. I'm like, okay, buddy. 1's okay. 2, all right, dude. I'm sorry. Like 3, okay, mother. Come off 4 the next time, and he drove in there again 4 times. It was like over the span of like 6 laps just driving there. So he gets to my door, and I just yank a left. Like, here's the thing.
Interestingly, if there was any question about the intentionality of LaJoie, he cleared that up during a conversation on SiriusXM NASCAR radio.
His was bad as well. So he was running the top, I was running the top, and we're both bleeding. The inside lane's coming. And Kyle rolls my left rear for like 22nd, and he hits me like the left rear quarter. One time, it's like, okay, you're racing Martinsville, you hit about everybody that you get around. Comes off the next corner into my left rear again. I'm like, okay, like now I'm already a little bit irritated because my stuff's going away and I'm hanging on, right, just trying to get to the end of this run. Does it again. I'm like, okay. 3 strikes, you're out. We roll into 3, still on my left rear corner. He drives in there again. So I just hung a left, and I was hoping to catch his right front tire to hook him in the fence to bring out the yellow that I needed. But he saved it, and then he caught me the next corner and sent me on my way up into the marbles, which I deserve that, right? You just get you start throwing jabs, and the punches keep getting bigger. And
Kyle Busch met with reporters on Saturday at Talladega. The same place a year ago he initially revealed that there were problems brewing at Joe Gibbs Racing. During this visit with the media, there wasn't any talk about free agency, but his run-in last weekend at Martinsville with LaJoie.
LaJoie's reputation within the garage?
I don't know. Ask everybody else. As far as him with me, he's been a pain in the to race with and pass for years, just coming up and lapping them and things like that. Every time I'm around him, it's like he tries an extra 20% harder to make sure I stay behind him, but just not fun.
Moments later, another reporter asked Busch for his version of events at the paperclip, and he unsurprisingly saw it differently than LaJoie.
Just that. He was fading. I was not that great, but I was just that much better than he was, and he was running the top lane, which was my lane. I tried to go to the bottom a couple times, and my car would not run the bottom. I could not accelerate out of the turns without getting loose, and I kept getting loose and just barely nudging him and touching him a little bit, coming out of the corners, and then, he slammed down into me down the front stretch and admitted it on his podcast that he wanted to crash me and create a yellow, and didn't get penalized, even though Denny Hamlin did. So again, our inconsistency of consistency is, or the other way around, is.
While Busch got mixed up in his phrasing, his message was clear. NASCAR got it wrong, and upon closer inspection, he's absolutely right. Busch addressed Hamlin's original remarks when they happened, and said his former teammate should have kept his mouth shut, and that would have avoided all of his problems. However, as we all know, the three-time Daytona 500 winner did not, and suffered the consequences in the form of a $50,000 fine and a 25-point penalty for admitting on his podcast that he intentionally got into Ross Chastain at Phoenix. As Busch said, LaJoie did the exact same thing, not once, but twice. So what's the difference? Why didn't NASCAR penalize LaJoie like it did Hamlin? There's a simple but ugly answer. LaJoie's podcast is affiliated with NASCAR. It's regularly promoted on the NASCAR website. His podcast quote about turning left into Busch was turned into a video on NASCAR's YouTube channel. It's blatantly obvious why NASCAR didn't penalize LaJoie, and Kyle Busch and everyone else can complain about it all they want. But it's not going to change because it's NASCAR's sandbox and they're just allowing everyone to play in it.